Right. Yamadharmaraja continues praising this Vidya, praising the Shishyas in general, Nachiketa in particular, the Guru, all of this in these verses. He continues in the same vein. We finished last when he said that these two are two different, divergent ends and means. Means are different, ends are also different. Prayers is also a means and an end. Shreyas is also means and an end. But Duramete, Viparite, Vishuchi. One is called Avidya, the other is called Vidya. Why Avidya? Because it is through Avidya that the need for a desire comes. Kama is there. And from that kama comes karma. And from that arises karma phala. And that cycle continues indefinitely. Whereas Shreyas, called Vidya, is the diametrically opposite end. To bring an end to this cycle, round and round and round, and then we find a way of getting out of this. Simply by our understanding of the nature of I. As long as I is an individual, I is identified as the I different from all the other I's, as different from the samsara, from the universe, from Ishvara, which is not a necessary first step. But as long as that is there, there is no getting away from the cycle. So this is avidya-based cycle and can be broken only by getting rid of avidya using its opposite vidya. But what happens generally in the world that we know, is that avidya is rampant. We are born with the avidya. That avidya is nurtured through life. And at some point, every human being is convinced of this avidya, of what the avidya has taught that person. Avidya which has been reinforced by everybody. So what happens is that this fundamental error about I starts at birth, continues through life, and eventually, when the sharira falls, that avidya continues in the form of the causal body, karana sharira, which then becomes the basis for the next janma. So janma after janma after janma, this continues. The next janma may be on this earth, it may be elsewhere, we don't know. And on this earth, it may take any form of jiva. That much at least we know. There are several forms of jiva, that sharira, that one can take. The whole world, if you remember earlier, he had used the word majjanti, Bashyam majjanti bahavo manushyaha. In this avidya, we are all swimming in that, immersed in that. Despite the fact that you're born a human being and have the ability to question some of the assumptions behind this avidya. Despite the fact that one has the capacity to question them, and despite the fact that one even questions them, not finding satisfactory answers, one continues to live in that avidya. So the mantra says, through the words of Yamadharmaraja, Shastra says, avidyayam antare vartamanaha
Avidyayam
Svayam dhirah panditam manyamanaha Dandravyamana pariyanti mudhaha Andhenaiva niyamana yathandhaha. All human beings are samsara yogya. What is samsara yogya? We are born into the samsara as with avidya. The whole samsara is avidya only. And every human being samsara yogya. And Acharya calls it samsara bhaja. Yetu samsara bhajo janaha. Samsara bhajaha janaha. Why two? Because in the previous verse, he praised Nachiketa. Vidya bhipsinam Nachiketasam manye. Natva kama bahavo lolupanta. All these kamas that you were offered did not tempt you, did not give rise to greed. Therefore, you are a worthy shishya. But you are an exception. Because by and large, if you look at the world that we know, most people, ye tu samsara bhajaha janaha. The people generally are samsara bhajaha. However, although you are an exception and you are looking for this knowledge and you're not swayed by anything, you are not a samsara bhajaha. You are looking to understand the truth which will release you from samsara. But most people generally are stuck in samsara. Why? Samsara bhaja janaha avidyam antare vartamanaha. Existing, being in that avidya, avidyam antare, inside that avidya, being in that avidya, like I said, born in the avidya, augmented by the samsara, that avidya takes total charge of the individual. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha. Being in, present in, being the whole life is in that andhakara. Being there, one doesn't often understand that I don't understand. If he understood that it doesn't understand, that he's making a mistake somewhere, even if he doesn't know what the mistake is, then he falls into the category of he knows not. He knows not, like a child. I know that I don't know. But generally, what is the category they are? He knows not, he knows not. He doesn't know that he doesn't know. And what is the assumption under which most humans work? I know. I know. And two levels they say I know. One, they will say, I know that this what I can see, sense, perceive in this Jagat is the only truth. Everything else doesn't exist. I accept only what is perceived. And then they will justify, saying, I am scientific. I have a scientific temper. Wonderful as far as the objects of the Jagat are concerned. But not adequate for what we are trying to understand. We're trying to understand where the error is. Concerning I, therefore, that is not adequate. How does science work? Entire science is based on perception of the five senses only. Enhanced by using a lot of equipment. Knowledge of the cosmos through all kinds of observations. Hubble telescope, or whatever other telescopes people use. But based on observation. Sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. These are inadequate. But people, they call themselves rationalists, will accept only what I can perceive. That is one category. They don't accept any pramana. They will not accept not only just the Shastra, but whatever religion they're born into, they won't accept that. They will claim they are rational, logical, scientific people. Therefore, I don't care what the Bible says or the Upanishads say. I know what is to be known. It is like Plato's beautiful story where he talks about whole community that lives deep inside caves. There's no light there. There only somehow some shadows are there. That's all they know. And they all think they know everything. Because that is all the world, like a frog in the well. They don't know any better. And if somebody claims and says, no, there has to be something more, there's something wrong in this assumption, they generally tell him, no, he had little water in the brain when he was born. That's all. So they assume that they know everything. Because they can perceive. I have very strong perception, a very strong capacity to think. Therefore, I know what I know. There's another category who will accept whatever religion they are born into or whatever religion they accept. Where every religion says that the purpose of life is to, in quotes, merge with Ishvara. Be part of Ishvara. God, Ishvara, Allah, whatever name you want to give it. That is the whole purpose of life. Therefore, they will follow the injunctions of the prescribed text. The text says you live life like this, you will go to heaven or Jannat or Swargaloka or whatever, or Vaikunta. They accept all that, and therefore they live, at least try to live life like that. So they are astikas, where they accept the truth given by their religion that they follow. There's some discussion we can have on this. But every religion tells us that if you live a life in a certain way, when this body falls, there is something more. Go back to Nachiketa's first question. Is there something after the body falls? And if there is something, what is the nature of that thing? In almost all these cases, the assumption is, I, the individual, will continue. If one were to answer Nachiketa's question on the basis of any of these religions, one would say, yes, there is life after death. You will continue to exist till you become part of one Ishvara, one God, one Allah, one whatever. But our Guru here, Lord Yamadharmaraja, does not say that. We will see as we go further in the Upadesha. Because Upanishads don't say that. Upanishads don't say you retain an individuality and become part of, a spark of, an amsha of Ishvara. You are Ishvara. You are Brahman. That is what he will teach later. Everything else is avidya, is incomplete vidya at best. But both these categories are avidyayam antare vartamanaha. Steeped in ignorance. The fact that people like us have done the search and tried looking at it, going to a guru and saying, this cannot be right, please tell me what is right. So as that we've also gone through the process of this kind of thinking in our own minds. What is the purpose? Why are we here? What are we doing? What is the end purpose? And where is the mistake I'm making? Can I get a correct understanding of the self? Shows that we've gone through this thinking process and our own punya, that we have access to this knowledge and we have access to somebody who can expand that and make us understand. It is the job of the guru to make me understand. Everywhere else, even though you are steeped in ignorance, one continues to remain steeped in ignorance unless one can have the adequate punya to go and learn the correct truth and find out where the error was.
The next trip.
And if you're steeped in ignorance, then one can you mute yourself, Jagdishan? If you're steeped in ignorance, not only is one steeped in ignorance, one assumes I know. When this assumption is based on assumption, not understanding, one can be very vehement about this. One can be very vehement because the understanding is based on assumption. There is no understanding really. So what does the person say? I am Dhir Purusha. I know. Because he doesn't know, he doesn't know. Swayam Dhiraha. Swayam Panditam Manyamanaha. He says, he thinks he knows. He is a Pandita. He is a Dhira Purusha. All in plural, Dhiraha. Vayam Dhiraha. Vayam Panditaha. Vayam Manyamanaha. Vayam Dhiraha. Vayam Panditaha. We know. With that kind of assumption they make, and you can apply it to almost entire human population. Handful of people who go beyond this kind of assumption. And in that assumption, dandramyamanaha, they get stuck in dandramyamana, dram dhatu. Dram gatau is fantastic. That gatau, a lot of these dhatus will have gatau meaning. In different directions they will go. Dandrabhyamana is a repetition of the dhatu itself. Dandramyamana. Indicating the intensity of this movement. Dandrabhyamanaha pariyanti. They keep going here and here and here. Maybe if they have Shastra to back them, they may go to other lokas and come back, go elsewhere and come back. But everywhere they come back to the same thing. First base. So, Dandrabhyamanaha pariyanti. They keep wandering. Oh, Muda. Okay. Ones who lack the discriminative thinking. Ones who make assumptions and live by those assumptions. Ones who go around saying, I know. And people are those who don't know that they don't know. Wonderful example Shastra gives us. Andhena eva niyamana yathandaha. Yatha, like, Kasam, how do they wander around all over the place? There are many, many gurus available to us in this Jagat. They are not necessarily Shrotriya Brahmanistha. And yet, they have huge following. All these people who tell everybody, I will take you to Swargaloka. I will take you to a better place. And they sound convincing. They sound as if they know. So a lot of people follow them. But it is like one blind man leading a group of blind people. Where will he lead them? He doesn't know where he's going. He can't see the path ahead. Andhena eva niyamana yathanda. I remember more than 60 years ago, There was a lesson in my school book. I don't know how these things get stuck in the mind. 65 years ago, about a blind man and a lame man. Both of them want to go to a particular place and they come together. And I remember they find the solution to their problem. That the blind man carries the lame man on his shoulder. So he becomes the eyes and the blind man becomes the legs. Like I said, it is a story I read more than 60 odd years ago. Even today it is there in the brain. That's not what the situation here. They're all blind. They're all people who don't know, and the one who leads them doesn't know he doesn't know. He pretends he knows. Many of the followers may know that they don't know, but they think they found somebody who can lead them, not recognizing that that person also doesn't know. Andhenaiva niyamana yathandaha. The same verse appears also in Kathopanishad. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha janganyamanaha. That's only difference, one word. Janganyamanaha, confused, distracted, disturbed people. Paryanti mudaha andhe naiva niyamana yathandaha. It is not Acharya's example, it is not my example, it is an example given by Shastra. Andheneva niyamana yathandaha, or group of blind people, most of whom know that they don't know, being led by another blind man who doesn't know that he doesn't know. What a combination. Yatha andhenaiva niyamanaha andhaha. You will see what Acharya has to say about this. See if I can share this. Do you all have the text, or do you want me to try and find a way to share this?
We have the text.
You have the text. Follow it in your book.
Yeah.
Avidyayam antare.
Avidyayam antare.
Meaning madhye.
Madhye.
Ghanibhute iva.
Ghanibhute iva.
Tamasi. Vartamanaha.
Vartamanaha.
Ishtyamanaha.
Veshyamanaha.
Completely steeped in tamasi, ghanibhute tamasi. Dense ignorance. As if steeped in dense ignorance. Who? Avidyayam madhye ghanibhute tamasiva vartamana. As though they are in the midst of dense ajnanam. I don't know what dense ajnanam is. But you can understand the concept. You can't get out of it easily. Vartamanaha, they are soaked in that. What is this avidya? Who are these people? K. Putra Pashvadi Trishna Pashasataihi.
Putrapashvadi Trishna Pashasataihi.
The people who are so, and now you can identify with this. Acharya says, Putra Pashu Adi Trishna Pashasataihi. Or all of them not knowing what is the Purushartha, which is why they are mudhas, chasing after putra, pashu, ityadi, having an intense thirst for putra, pashu, adi. Adi means everything. Artha, kama, and also other lokas. The entire humanity is driven by three kinds of trishna. Putraishana, Vittaishana, Lokaishana. By Artha, Kama, or what is often referred to as Dharma. You have to be very careful about this word. Dharma doesn't mean that, therefore you should follow Adharma. Dharma in the sense that I live a life of Dharma for what purpose? To go to Swargaloka. In that sense. Putra Pashvadi Trishna, what are these? Pasha Sataihi. They are what bind a person. Not recognizing that you're bound because of these short-term desires, which we've seen is not what we're looking for, but we don't know. So that kind of people who are Veshtyamanaha, Ghanibhute Tamasi Veshtyamanaha, enveloped by. There is a word in Tamil called Veshti. Veshti is the dhoti. You tie the veshti around you. Comes from the same root. Veshtyamanaha. Who are enveloped by this Ghanibhuta Tamas. Who are driven by Putra Pashvadi Trishna, which are Shataihi Pashaha. One of the meanings of the word Pasha is the noose or lasso that Yamadharma Raja is shown to be carrying in pictures to catch hold of jivas. You're going to be there in the same cycle. And because of this Ghanibhuta Tamas, not recognizing that I am in that Andhakara, like Plato's community, they think they know everything that is to be known. Vayam dhiraha, vayam swayam dhiraha. We are very wise and panditaha, very learned, and not just panditaha. Acharya expands on that, saying, Shastra kushalaha che icha iti manyamana. I am Shastra kushalaha. I know Shastra, I know what my own book says. Here I can take Shastra as a book that anybody follows. That I am a Shastra Kushala. I understand what Shastra says. My Shastra says. Such people who lead many others astray. They are the problem. There you can think of two types of people. As long as they have a huge following, to whom they don't declare that I will tell you the truth, I will give you moksha, I will give you nirvana, as long as they don't say that, that's fine. As long as what they are giving to their huge following is some temporary relief, is some manashanti, and many of them do that. through a series of yoga or Sudarshan Kriya or any such technique that you might use. The problem arises when they say, you follow me and I'll give you moksha. We've seen that none of these can give you moksha. They all fall into prayers. So as long as they don't declare that I'm giving you moksha, they only declare that I'm giving you a better life, I'm giving you a calmer life, I'm giving you a more controlled life. Fine. Where they don't start quoting from Shastra and say, look, Upanishads, I'm teaching you because they don't know. They can take bits and pieces because they know Sanskritam. Make their own interpretation. That is dangerous. And unfortunately, words of the Shastra lend themselves to this kind of misinterpretation. They are words after all. And particularly if they start taking things out of Puranas. Puranas is not Shruti. Puranas has a different purpose. They take it there and out of context, they'll tell you. I am the Pandita, I've studied all of these, and I'm telling you this is what you should do. This is what you should do for what? If they're not clear, you're in trouble. See, all these people who are Andhaha, who are leading other Andhas, obviously are offering something to their followers. Otherwise, they would not have such a following. Something they're gaining out of them. Whether it's Ram Rahim, or it is Asaram Bapu, or whatever. They're all great leaders in their own way. But they should stop calling themselves Guru. That is misleading. Because they think they are Panditaha. They think they are Shastra Kushalaha. Therefore, I'm telling you, and they say Shastra, they'll quote from anywhere. Such people, they Dandravyamanaha Atyartham Kutilam Aneka Rupam Gatim Gacchantah
Atyartham kutilam anekarupam gacchantah
Dandravyamanaha. Atyartham Kutilam Aneka Rupam Gatim Gacchantah. Kutilam is crooked, wrong, all that. Kutilam. They take you into all kinds of directions. They themselves go in the direction, they take you in the direction. Many of them become very, what you might call, successful from a Laukika perspective. They make a lot of wealth for themselves. But there was one, Nityananda, what was his name, who had enough money to buy an island and create a country of his own. And some of the things he claims, he got late one day in the morning, therefore he told the sun to stop. Guru. Amazing. Sadgurus are there and they have a huge following. In the process, they themselves might make a lot of wealth. If they are in that frame, obviously they are not jnanis. Kutilam aneka rupam gatim gacchantah. They keep going all over the place, including like this Swami, somebody starting his own Kailash, what? Kailash. own country, his own passport, his own currency, everything. And by law, he is wanted. Amazing. What kind of kutilam aneka rupam gatim jara marana rogadi dukkhaihi? All these remain within the framework of jara, marana, dukkha adi. You cannot escape that. These are all kutilam aneka rupam gatim. And they keep pariyanti. They keep going round and round in the same thing. Parigachanti. Ke, who does this? Moodhaha,
मूढाः
avivekinaha.
विवेकिनः
अविवेकिनः
Buddha is Thakur makes very clear. Abhivekina. Buddha is not person who has a low IQ or a low thinking capacity. But a person who has the capacity to think but is a miser. Kripanaha, he doesn't use it. Because he is an abhiveki. He cannot distinguish between what is the Purushartha one is looking for and what is the Purushartha I am working towards. As long as you don't recognize the Purushartha, you will keep going all over the place. He's like, he says, Andhena eva.
तेन एव
एव
Andha, he describes, Drishti vihinena eva.
विहीनेन एव
दृष्टिविहीनेन
These are people without the drishti. That means they don't know where they enter. Drishti vihinam. They don't know where they are going. And they're taking a whole lot of other people who also don't know where they're going. Drishti vihinam eva. Niyamanaha.
नियमानाः
नियमानाः
They leading them. Niyamanaha. For those who are interested in grammar, Niyamanaha becomes a Shanaj version of ni, to lead, to take. Niyamanaha, taking them where? Acharya explains. Vishame pati.
विषमे
Patha
पथि
is
क्षमे पति
path. Path. Path also comes from patha only, I think. Take them, what kind of path? Dangerous path. Path full of pits and pitfalls. Potholes like our Bangalore roads. They take them in very wrong direction. Every human being has only one Purushartha. But most don't know what that Purushartha is. They take them in all sort of wrong directions. Which means that their ability to reach that Purushartha, moksha, becomes delayed more and more and more. Vishame pati. All sort of problems, all sort of difficulties. It's all anartha, meaningless, purposeless movements. Yatha.
यथा
Then now he gives the drishtanta, the example. Bahavaha
बहवः
बहवः
andhaha
मूढाः
अन्धः
ahantam anartham richanti
महान्तम् अनर्थं पृच्छन्ति
advat.
तद्वत्
Richanti, they go to. Who go to? Bahavaha andhaha. This blind man who doesn't know where he is going, he doesn't know where is one supposed to go. He is leading a whole lot of others who are seeking help, who are wanting directions, who cannot see that this person also doesn't know where he goes. This thing is probably clear. I will use this ability of mine to talk glibly, to convince people. Instead of becoming a salesman for some physical product, I'm becoming a salesman for this moksha without having a product. No product, no service, and yet I am a salesman for moksha. It takes people in the wrong direction. That's not a disservice. Like I said, I'm not comparing all of them together. There are a whole lot of people who help people to get one step more in terms of the adhikaritvam, antakarna shuddhi. But there are many who don't, who are actually taking them away from their goal. And the least they will do is they delay their process. More and more and more janmas before they can hope to gain some clarity about where they want to go. Bahava andaha mahantam anartham richanti. Useless, purposeless directions. And there are big mahantam. If you have to go to Chennai, they will take you to Kerala. You start all over again. This is a very small example I'm giving, but mahantam anartham. From where you need to go, a completely different place. Where you have to now remove all the negation and start all over again. Tadvat. In that, like that, for example, again and again and again, they will keep going round in the same path. Dharmaraja continues in the same vein. He says, at least some people have some clarity to the extent that I follow my Shastra, and my Shastra says, I will help you to get to some form of better loka. Swargaloka, heaven, Jannat, whatever. If you follow these scriptures like this, there are some problem areas. They say all religions lead to the same goal. If the same goal is limited to saying, I'll go to, after the fall of this body, I will go to another loka which is better, where I don't have so much of ills, negatives, dukkha, jara, etc. Then it is the same goal. But the basic assumption here is, I retain my individuality. I, the individual who is now suffering in this janma, because I have punya papa to live through, I will take you to another loka where you don't have to suffer. What does that mean? That my scripture says, do this, live life like this, you will go to this better loka. There also we have problems. Okay, in the method also there's problem. If your end purpose is to go to one loka where you don't have the dukkha, some will tell you, therefore lead a life like this. Ahimsa is the parama dharma. you do this. But there are others who will say, no, you create himsa. Then you will go to that particular loka. It doesn't make sense. Or some others will give you, on the one hand, will say, temptation is the devil's tool. And they will do the temptation themselves. So you can draw your own conclusion of who the devil is. In their own words. So this nonsense about all religions lead to the same goal is absurd. And then there is only one particular religion, which is the Sanatana Dharma, which doesn't stop there. It doesn't say, okay, I will take you to Svargaloka. It says we will take you to Svargaloka, but it says you'll come back. That is not the end. No other religion talks about what happens after whatever loka they say they will take you. So they go part way at best and come back into the same cycle. Yamadharmaraja talks about this in the next mantra. There are people who don't even accept that much, that you can go to another loka and have a better life, still maintaining your individuality. Some people don't even accept that. They say, I'm born here, I can see what I can see, I'm going to die in a certain number of years. In the meanwhile, I'm going to enjoy. Eat, drink, and make merry. Rinam kritva ghatam pibet. Somebody else will take care of your loans. You take loans, live life way beyond what your current earning capacity is. I will die after that. How does it matter what happens? Somebody is going in trouble, their problem. So Yamadharmaraja traces these people also and says how wrong their thinking is. We will look at that tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha